So Passionate, this is probably going to be one of the most transparent episodes. And if you're new here, you're going to find out some things about me. Most of you already know. I talk to you candidly about different things that are going on in my life. It was a day of deeper introspection and sorting than I anticipated it would be, or than I was prepared to navigate. I know that when a chapter ends, sometimes it leaves us questioning what the new chapter will begin. But this particular chapter did not end where it left me questioning so much what was going to be happening going forward, as it did leave me with cliffhangers. And I'm not a fan of cliffhangers. So I'm a closure person. So what I really needed or could have benefited from was answers that I did not get. And so it was a challenging day for several reasons. For one, there was guilt associated with not being able to participate in the joy of the day the same way others were. And that's a wild thing. It's one thing when you're the only one that's excited on your solar return, like, today's my birthday, I don't care how you feel. It's something different when everybody else is like, oh my God, today's your birthday. And you're like, yeah, it is. And they're like, oh my God, I hope you're having an amazing day. And the truth is, no, I'm not. No, I'm not having an amazing day. I'm in the thick of it. And if I talk to you, I recognize that I'll be raining on your parade, and I don't want to do that. So there's guilt in that. If I can say thank you because I am appreciative of the well wishes, but I can't say, yes, I'm having an amazing day. So for the people that called and they're like, are you feeling great? Are you having a great day? The truth was no, I was not. The truth was not only was I not having a great day, for me to now sit here and have this conversation with you, it is causing me to do a lot of work, because now passionate public service announcement. Passionate. Let me tell you something. So what is this Passion PSA podcast? Who am I? Well, they call me Passion, short for passion, no last necessary. Why is there no last name necessary? Because the first name says it all. I am Passion and all that embodies. What do I do here? I give you the life coaching that you know you need, but don't enroll yourself in. When did I start? Actually, 2017. I'd leave a PSA on my Instagram regarding something I'd observed, and now we've evolved to this. Why do I do it? Why not? If even one person is able to take away one thing that changes their life, someone else's life, or changes the world for the better, then I've done what I was charged to do. So come on in, sit and listen for a while. There's something here for everyone at the Passion PSA podcast. Greetings and salutations, my beloved Passionates, newcomers, visitors, and guests. Welcome to another episode of the Passion PSA podcast, where I, Passion No Last Necessary, your Get You Right guru, issue a weekly public service announcement about whatever was on my mind or I have observed. This is a for your consideration zone, where the objective is to offer you a perspective you may not have previously considered, to both expand your thinking and to get you to be the best version of yourself, and for others. This is a safe space, but not necessarily a delicate one. I will never rob you of your right to feel what you feel. Same way I will not sugarcoat whatever it is I have to say. The goal is to get you to higher, more expanded thinking so you can operate as your highest and best self. If you are new to this space, we start most episodes with affirmations in order to elevate to the highest possible vibration. There are things that I may say that may rub you wrong, and that isn't the intention. But while it isn't the intention, it is a possibility, and we want to ensure that we're starting on the highest possible frequency, so that if for whatever reason we happen to come out of that space, we don't end up in the most base of spaces. So right now, I'm going to take a moment, take a breath. You are welcome to repeat after me or to say your own affirmations. I am my priority. I honor the space that I'm in. This piece is a necessary piece of the puzzle. It is all working together. Every ending isn't the ultimate end. It's not over until it's over. I still have time. I use my time effectively. I use my time wisely. I use my wisdom in a timely fashion. I am fashioning out the life I desire through thought, word, and deed. It is well. I am well. All is well. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So Passion is, I started to record, and right as I started to get into it, my iPad said, your storage is full, so you're not recording anything else. I lost my train of thought because I was trying to scramble to delete and make room so that I could continue recording, and being that this is not a scripted episode, it really threw me off. So here's what. My solar return was on the 18th. Thank you to those of you who knew and who reached out. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. I got a lot of messages, text messages. I got phone calls. I got DMs. I got a lot of outreach to say, we're glad that you were born on this day. We're glad that you're here with us now. We're glad that you are part of our lives. We're glad for what you pour into us. And it was so deeply appreciated. And at the same time, I was in this, it really wasn't even a dark space. It was gloomy, and it was a heavy space. And so it was like, I don't know, has somebody ever said something to you that was really uplifting and really edifying and really positive, and it didn't like turn your mood around. It didn't make you say, wow, yes, yay. It didn't make you smile big. It made you cry. And not like happy tears, but like, I want to experience the joy that you're experiencing right now, and I don't feel it. And so I was caught in that place of, how do I navigate this? Today is my solar return, and I want to be excited, and I should be excited. And that's not how I feel. I feel very heavy. And just to give you some context, so I made a decision the day before, right? The last page of the chapter, I made a decision that I was going to make sure that I close that chapter in truth. So I had an uncomfortable conversation, and I don't know if we talked about it in this podcast, but we have talked about it previously, about the importance of having uncomfortable conversation and the necessity of having uncomfortable conversation, because it's not about your comfort level. It's about the requisite to have the conversation so that the communication is clear. So I had an uncomfortable conversation, and so there were a lot of things that were said that were like, interesting. There were other things there were questions that were posed that there were no answers for. I'm big on closure. So unanswered questions do nothing for me. That's probably why this podcast is successful, because it gives me a space to think and answer. I can provide you some answers, because I don't like being left in the dark. So that was the icing on the cake of like several months of a lot, right? You know that the whole restoration project has been a lot, and getting everything out was a lot, and then figuring out how to do it was a lot. And there were other things that were going on in the meantime. People are hitting me up. Well, what are we doing for your birthday? What are we doing for your birthday? I don't know. Right now I'm trying to figure out how to move a couch and where I'm gonna put it. Like, I want to say we're doing this. And so then I had a plan, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing the research on that. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. And then I'm like, why am I spending money on that? Because I'm supposed to be traveling. And then when I followed up on the travel plans, it was like the energy around that was real crazy. And I was like, you know what? That's a dub. because what we're not going to do is that. So now the travel plans are canceled. Now the party plans are canceled. The home is still in disarray. You know, all of these things are falling behind. This was supposed to be submitted, it wasn't. This was supposed to be taken care of, it wasn't. This was supposed to be done, it wasn't. The episodes so all of these things, right, are mounting on top of each other. And I will never sit here in front like I'm real good with managing my stress. That's not something that I have navigated or I have figured out how to do well, right? I'm great at creating plans for other people, because I think the reality in that, and for a lot of people, is it's just easier to say things that you don't have to execute, especially when you're talking to somebody who has the full discipline. And I don't always have the full discipline. That's just the truth of the matter. So things are in disarray and in chaos. And then I'm like, okay, well, as I'm putting these things back together, I need some answers and some clarity and some closure in this. And there was none of that. So I just came into the day not feeling well. And it was really challenging to maneuver through that space of, I really appreciate what you're offering, but I can't meet you in your excitement. So I don't want to talk to you, because talking to you means I either have to be fraudulent and say that I feel a way I don't feel, or be truthful and rain on your parade. And that was a wild place to be. And to also be in that space where it kind of doesn't matter what anybody's saying. It kind of really wouldn't matter any effort to try to cheer me up, so to speak, because there's nothing that you can say or do. It's the requirement is of me, for me to figure out what I'm going to do to choose a different energy. Watching some funny things, sometimes that's helpful, but it's not always helpful, right? And I don't like to rely on vices, right? On vices that we intake, right? Smoking or drinking or things of that nature. And the reason why is because it is not lost on me that at the end of that high, right? So if you smoke something, when you come down from the high, you come back to the reality with lethargy sitting on top of it. That's not what's up. That's not fun. When you come back from the inebriation, if you're fortunate enough not to have to charter a course through a hangover, if you're fortunate enough not to have to deal with that, you still have to deal with reality. Reality doesn't disappear. So escapism doesn't serve me well, because I don't want to just escape the issue. I want to resolve the issue, so I don't need to escape it. And I recognize that most people are not in that space. Well, let me not say most people, but too many people are not in that space where they want a resolution. I recognize that there was no resolution that somebody could offer me, because the space of, well, it could be worse and it could be better. The space of, well, just be grateful for this. Or I could be honest about the fact that there's room to be grateful for this and still be upset about that. The space of, well, I don't really know what to tell you because you're being ungrateful and like you need to just settle. No, I don't need to. And I don't want to. I have a right to want certain things. And I have a right to feel how I feel if I don't get them. It doesn't mean that I have an entitlement issue. I didn't say I was entitled to the things that I want, but I do have a right to want them. And then at the same time, and this even came up in the conversation, in the uncomfortable conversation, there's a space of want and there's a space of readiness. And there's a significant difference between the two. Passionate, are you particular about what you put on your skin and what you put in your hair? If you're anything like me, you're very specific about the ingredients of the products that you're using. And my good sis, LaShondra, has a product that's probably perfect for you. She calls it LaShondra's Essentials Strengthening and Nourishing Hair and Body Oil. And she infuses actual herbs into the oil. Let me give you, I have my phone in my hand because the list of benefits of this product is so long. So I need to make sure that I tell you all of the things that it's good for. So if you have issues with eczema, psoriasis, alopecia, dermatitis, dry hair or scalp, dry skin, excess shedding and hair breakage, dark spots, brightening under eye circles, fading stretch marks, if you have burns or you have scars, this is the product for you, and it can be used as a massage oil or a beard oil. Now, I don't know how many products you have available to you that you can do all of that with, but I know for a fact that this product does that and more. I have used it. I stand by it. I am a fan of it. It takes only a drop. And the best part of this whole announcement is that my sis has been so gracious as to extend a 20% off offer for my passionates. And the code that you need to use is passionate for y'all. So head on over to her Etsy, etsy.com/shop/LaShondra's Essentials. You can use my discount code passionate for 20% off. If you did not want to go that route, you wanted to just go to the link below in the description box, do that, click the link, and the discount code is already applied as soon as you click the link. She also offers CMOS, so get into it. Go check out her site. Go check out her product, and thank me later. Let's get back to the episode. Are you ready for the things that you want? We think that we're ready for them because we want to have them until we get them. And either we can't give them back or we got them and it wasn't what we expected, right? I wanted new floors. I did not want to be sweeping up sawdust for the rest of my life. And right now, it feels like I'll be sweeping up sawdust for the rest of my life. Literally, every time I sweep the floor, there's like a dust storm that sweeps up because the sawdust is just not trying to make its exit. I wanted the renovations. I did not want to have to move out and then move back in and figure out how to do this. I did not want to do this over the course of a month. I wanted to do this over the course of a week. I wanted the work to be done, but I wasn't ready for all that it entailed. And I want you to go inside yourself and ask yourself those questions. Have you really determined what you want and what you're ready for? A lot of us want kids. And we think that we're ready for kids because we've reached a certain age, because we're in that window where time is ticking, windows are closing, or that's what they say. So we say, I'm ready, or we're financially established, or we're ready to make the necessary sacrifices, even if we're not 100% financially established, right? So we want kids and we believe that we're ready for them until they come and they are functional on the autism spectrum or have different abilities that we have no idea how to navigate. We want kids, and then we have children who have behavioral issues or who have emotional deficits and instabilities, and we're not ready to navigate that because most of us are not navigating our own emotional deficiencies and instabilities, right? Instead, we're saying, I'm okay. The rest of the world is seeing us as not okay, but because we refuse to get help, we insist on our okayness, knowing that we are unwell. How then does somebody who knows that they're unwell and unable or refusing to get help now help somebody who doesn't know how to navigate any of this because their prefrontal cortex is not even completely developed? And when it does completely develop at the age of 25, it will develop with all of these intricacies and all of these radicals that we didn't know how to help them with? And what if when we were ready for what we thought we were ready for, we had resources available to us that became unavailable in the process? Are we still ready? And so in these questions of what I want versus what I'm ready for, what you want versus what you're ready for, the other question comes up: what is enough for you? There are music makers, right? Either they're songwriters or they're producers, and enough for them is making music for the rest of their life. If they could never read another book, if they could never go on another trip, making music is fine. They would sit in a hut and they would make music for the next 75 years, and they would be fine with that. And that's enough for them. But I had to ask myself, what's enough for me? Is helping 50 people a week enough for me? Is it that my expectation is to get to 100,000 viewers weekly? And if it is my expectation to get to 100,000 viewers weekly, if out of that 100,000 viewers, if 10,000 are being helped, and out of that 10,000, I'm in a position to say I am going to work directly as a life coach with 100 of those people, would that be enough? When the money comes at X level, is that enough? Will that be enough for me? Or will I still need more? Because where I am right now, what I'm doing is enough for my two hands. Because most days I feel like it's too much for my two hands, but I don't have other hands helping me. So it's just my two hands. And it's a lot for my two hands to juggle, and I still want to do more. So what is my enough? So navigating all of these things, I recognize that you asking, well, what can I say? What can I do? Where can we go to get you to a different mood, a different place, a different experience? What can I offer? How can I help you get there? You can't. And that is a wild thing to try to get through, especially on a day that's supposed to be a day full of joy and a day that's all about you. So it was wild and it was uncomfortable. It was extremely uncomfortable because I wanted to be true to myself. I didn't want to be dishonest with anyone else, but I also didn't necessarily feel like explaining it to every person that called or texted and them saying, you know, I hope you're having a great day. Well, thank you. And while somebody is saying, well, that's all you had to say was thank you, you're right. And for some people, that would have been enough. And there are other people who want to continue the conversation. So what are you doing? I'm sitting here. I'm sitting in the same spot that I've been sitting in for 3 hours. I've done nothing. I put on a sock. That's what I'm doing. What do you have planned for the day? Absolutely nothing. So that's why sitting here is effective. That's it's hard to have that conversation, to know that that's the conversation within yourself, and then find the medium where you can deliver that delicately enough that the people who would have to receive that would be able to receive it and not feel like you're biting their head off, even though really you want to bite their head off because they're aggravating you. And they don't mean to aggravate you, but the questions that they're asking you are not questions that you can really do anything with. They're not helping the mood any. And their intention wasn't to push you, but they can't get you to a better place than where you are. So I'm happy to say that I am past that space, and Not that I've gotten the answers, not that I've gotten the closure or the clarity, but the day has passed and different decisions have been made as to how I'm going forward. So I'm grateful for that. I think what I really want more than anything is that when you walk away from this particular episode, because I know that this wasn't like the episode that you were probably expecting, but it was just some transparency that I needed to share with you. When you walk away from this episode, I want you to walk away with, I think it's 3 things. 1, when you prioritize yourself, you have to honor the space that allows you to be grateful and sorrowful at the same time, to be appreciative of people's intentions and sad because of of other things that are going on in the same space, that there's room for that. That you don't necessarily owe anyone an explanation. And they're going to have to feel how they feel. Because sometimes you can't explain it in the moment. And if you do explain it in the moment, they're not going to receive it well because you're not going to deliver it well. I want you to take some time at some point and ask yourself, what is it that I believe that I'm ready for? What is it that I want? Are the two the same? I want $1 million. I want to earn. I don't want somebody to just write me a check for $1 million unless it's a deal that we've negotiated. I want to earn through my business $1 million in this year. Am I ready for that? Am I ready for what all is required? Am I ready for the output that's required from me? Am I ready to maybe abandon certain things that I'm currently doing and take on other things that I've never taken on before? Am I really ready for that? Sometimes it sounds good, right? I want my hair done and I'm ready to get my hair done. I am not ready to be sitting in somebody's chair for 6 hours while they tug on my thoughts. That's a real thing. So I have to ask myself that, and I'm asking you that because I want you to really truly consider that. What do you want versus what you think you're ready for versus what you're actually ready for? Have you considered all of what's required in the I want space? All that's required for you, for your readiness in order for you to have what it is that you want. What was the third thing? What's your enough? Have you actually considered what your enough is? And if your ultimate enough, if you're being honest with yourself and in truth, your ultimate enough is not something that you can determine, that you can state specifically right now, what benchmarks can you set to say, if I do this in this period, then that's enough. If I don't accomplish anything else but this in this time frame, then that's enough. And if you've already figured that out, power to you. And I'm cheering for you. I hope that it continues that way for you. I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm doing this work as I encourage you to do it, because I know how important it is. And I don't want any of your solar returns to be I want them to be introspective, but I don't want them to be as difficult as mine was. I am grateful for another chance and another chapter. I am grateful to still be here, to still be doing what I can. I'm grateful that I'm still making an effort and that I haven't given up on myself. Because it's easy to give up. Even when it's hard to give up, it's still easier to give up than it is to keep going. And I'm grateful that I have pushed myself this far and that I'm showing improving, right? So I'm grateful to myself. I'm grateful for whatever is to come in this chapter because I recognize that all of the pieces are a part of it, right? And it's only in hindsight where we can see where if this had not happened, if I had not done this, if I had not experienced this, then I would not be able to, this part couldn't work the way it was supposed to because these things work together. This is at the center of this, but this can't go around nothing. This had to go around this, right? So I'm grateful for whatever is to come because I know that it's all a part of the story. I want you to be grateful in that space as well. I don't want to sit here too much longer. My alarm keeps going off. I think we've talked about enough. I think I've been transparent enough for one day. Maybe I'll be a little bit more transparent next week. Or maybe you'll get a scripted episode. That would be nice. But I needed to talk about this. So that's that on that. You go forth. Be great. Be filled with bliss. Be armed and empowered with knowledge. Figure out what your enough is. Think carefully about what you want versus what you're ready for. Know that it's okay to be in two emotional spaces at the same time. And for whoever tells you that it's not okay, and even if you feel like it's not okay, it's still a real thing. In all things, be passionate. I'll see you next week.